Fam, what's good? What's good? Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Definitely drop me a thumbs up, and I appreciate you guys starting the week right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Let's jump right into it. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. We all know what we want to talk about today to start off this fine Monday. And we are going to talk about the fact that we are officially on a flip watch for Keelon Russell, a prospect who is out of the Lone Star State. And this quarterback was just in town with Coach Kalen DeBoer. He left Alabama and is immediately Fong bombed. And what that is in the recruiting industry is that when Steve Whitfong, probably the most connected recruiting analyst in the country who works for On3, when he drops a nugget, when he drops a bomb, meaning this prospect is going to commit or going to flip, that means, and I think he has an accuracy rate of like 98%, 99%. So like this is going to happen. And I'm not surprised. And I was getting my coffee. And when people were talking about recruiting under Coach Kalen DeBoer, could he recruit the Southeast? It's more been like he's recruiting the entire country, right? We're going to talk about Ty Haywood, who was just in town. He's a 5-star offensive tackle as well. But I mean, when you go to the Lone Star State, when you look at how he's been able to take care of his own backyard here in the state of Alabama, it's been really impressive from the jump. And I think a lot of it is because of Coach Kalen DeBoer and his personality and his overall philosophy and the fact that he has a really great hold over this organization, and prospects, parents, handlers, agents, whatever you want to call it, are buying into this and can see it. And he has a ton of momentum. So with Keelon Russell coming in and potentially to flip, and I think it's going to happen at any point in time. Some people were asking inside the comment box when I did a YouTube short, by the way, do you like the hat? Drop a thumbs up if you guys like the hat, right? I know the baseball team and the softball team lost yesterday. It's okay. It's not okay to lose, right? You play to win the game, but what they were able to do, and we'll talk about that on the back end of the show as well, was impressive. I watched the game against Florida. Florida's a tough team in softball, and Alabama baseball goes down. But I think when you look to what Coach Kalen DeBoer was able to do this past weekend, it's bigger than we think it is. And because of the fact that he was able to host prospects here in Tuscaloosa, this is his organization now. There's no more, like, I get it. There's always going to be a presence of Coach Saban forever. But now that everything is under Coach Kalen DeBoer, he's able to showcase himself a little bit better already than he presents himself, which is amazing. And I think he's had an opportunity to talk with the coaches, the people who are behind the prospects. And now every single article that you're reading this morning has had an overwhelming time. It was amazing. And I'm not surprised to see this, right? Like, Coach Kalen DeBoer can recruit, and he's doing it on a very high level. So are you excited? Let me ask you inside the comment box as you're waking up, as you're getting your day started. Are you excited about Keelon Russell potentially flipping to the University of Alabama? You're like, well, maybe I don't even know about him. Let's check out his highlights, okay? Let's bring up his highlights real quick, and we will do that right now. All right, let me get to his highlights. I appreciate you guys joining me, by the way. Thank you so much. We will highlights right now. And we are looking at a current ad, and once this ad is done playing, this is on Huddle, so if you want to go and like check out his Huddle highlights, go do that. And let's look at his highlights. Let's make sure that's all sized up for you guys. All right, we'll rewind it. We'll make sure everything is in focus. All right, here we go. All right, this is Keelon Russell, and quarterback, and I'll bring it full screen as well. And let's just talk about his highlights as we see it go through. Dang, that was a nice pass. And you know what? A lot of the times when we see these big-time quarterbacks, the wide receivers also stand out. So I think there's a highly touted wide receiver on his squad. Here he is evading the tackle, dumping it off, and then you're letting those wide receivers kind of do the rest. Look at that downfield stop blocking right here by this wide receiver at the bottom of our screen. So look, Keelon Russell is a 4-star, and a lot of people, like, I saw someone also inside the comment box was like, wow, you're flipping prospects. Wow, he's got really good running ability as well. Playing at Dallas Cowboy Stadium or at Frisco Stadium, whatever it is. You're flipping prospects from SMU. Look, I think SMU just did a damn good job recruiting him early on. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, look at this. Nice touch on the ball. This is my favorite thing about a quarterback. You got to be able to have touch, right? You can have power. This is nice up the middle of the field on the option keeper. Up to the middle. He's at the 30. Cuts to the outside. Keelon Russell making it happen on the ground as well. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. We're talking about a prospect, a quarterback, Keelon Russell, who has nice touch, who has a nice deep ball, who is now predicted to flip to the Alabama Crimson Tide. People are like, wow, you guys are flipping prospects from SMU. I love it. I think there's a lot of people who are after this young man, and for him to come in and be wowed by Alabama, you know what it means? It means he got the full court press. You know, he already liked meeting with Coach Sheridan on Zoom. We read that. And now getting the chance to see this vision, see this offense, I like it. And looking at these highlights right here, I mean, these are his, I think they're sophomore junior highlights. I'm surprised. I mean, look, he can run a lot better than I thought he could. You know, I've looked at his, I must have watched another tape of him, but right here, what I like, I mean, this is a dual threat quarterback. Really good pocket presence. He can clearly throw on the run right here. Really good wide receivers. This is, I mean, he's out of Texas, so you retain ties to the Lone Star State. Here he is again, back to pass. Takes a deep shot downfield. Beats the safety, beats the corner. Wide receiver gets in the end zone. Heads up play. All right, here he is. Faking the handoff, throwing it downfield once again. You know what stands out to me is his touch. Like a couple things. Like number one, guy can run. Clearly, look at this, right? He's fast. But his touch inside the red zone stands out, but also he's not afraid to take a chance downfield. And people were like, well, why are you taking a quarterback? Well, that's a fine question, because you look at the Alabama quarterback room: Jalen Miro, Ty Simpson, Dylan Lonergan, Austin Mack. But you always have to take a quarterback in your recruiting class, right? And if it's going to be this young man, and I don't think they'll take two quarterbacks. I think they'll just have one quarterback. But yeah, I mean, it's a valid question. If you ever have questions inside the comment box, like, feel free to add them. Like, it is a good question. Why are you taking a quarterback? I mean, next year, I think everybody knows the starting quarterback is going to be Ty Simpson, but it adds development, right? And if these players can wait and be patient, they can be developed properly. Now, all eyes will be on how Nick Sheridan develops these quarterbacks, along with Coach Kalen DeBoer and the passing game coordinator, Jamarcus Shepard. I would imagine like how things work. But man, I actually like this offense that Keelon Russell comes from right here. And kid can clearly spin it. Look at this right here. Makes the guy miss. He's got the escapability, make another man miss, gets to the outside, right? Picks up some yards. Motions his wide receiver to the inside. All right. Tight end takes the fake handoff. He's going right to that running back, and he's getting into the end zone. Keeps his feet moving. Another little dump off. He's got some really good. I would love to watch this team in action. Like, they're ultra talented. I love this offense, by the way. Here he is with another deep shot. Talk about that touch, right? That's that touch. So if you like the highlights, if you're impressed with what you have coming in with Keelon Russell, drop a thumbs up and let me know what you think inside the comment box. Kyle Henderson, ooh, the wide receiver got tagged. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. You guys like the hat, right? Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. It is Monday. It is June 3rd. I hope you guys are off to a good start. Right. And let me know, like, if you are not a member, there's a $2.99 option to support the YouTube channel. I appreciate you guys supporting me. This is what I do for a full-time living. And just like you have your job, I have my full-time job, free to watch, not free to produce. So thank you very much for being a fan funder of the YouTube channel right here on Bama Football on YouTube. All right. So what do you guys, let's talk about Keelon Russell here. I'm going to bring up, actually, let's talk about, I see you inside the comment box, man. Good morning to you. All right. Ty Haywood. Okay. This is another prospect that was in this weekend and left really ecstatic about being here with the Alabama Crimson Tide. This is a prospect who is a 5-star, and everybody keeps asking, Where are the 5-stars? When are you going to get a 5-star? And we'll look at the class of 2025 recruiting rankings. I use On3. I know a lot of people use 24/7 Rivals. I read them all. And I think the interface, and I always explain this because people are like, are you working for On3? No. I did at a point in time, which is great. And I'm glad they're doing well. I personally just like the interface of On3. So you do you. Ty Haywood, out of Texas as well, Denton, Texas. He is the number 8 overall player. You're talking about a top 10 player in the country, right? The new number 2 overall player in Texas. Can you let's stop right there. The number 2 overall player in Texas. Are you kidding me? This dude leaving Alabama this weekend. I mean, that's monumental. And you have momentum for a 5-star. And look, when we look over here to On3 and how they have their interface set up, is the predictions right here are from different analysts, but I haven't seen a prediction from Steve Whitfong or an Andrew Bone, some of the top end recruit like a Chad Simmons. I haven't seen any of that, so I don't know how much you buy into 88%, locked into Oklahoma at this point in time. It's still early, and I think considering that he just left and had a chance to meet with Coach Kapilovic, there's a really good article you can read on On3 about Coach Kapilovic. And I want to pause right there because if you don't know, Coach Kapilovic came from Baylor. He had to stop at Michigan State, very tenured offensive line coach. And in my mind, and look, I think Eric Wolford, I mean, you could say he did a really good job recruiting, but in terms of developing the players, maybe it was too short of a time. I don't know. It just didn't seem to work out for him. What I like about Coach Kapilovic, and maybe it's a chance that we're able to speak to these guys, see them in action now that things are a little bit more opened up at Alabama's practice. But what kind of jumps out to me is he reminds me, honestly, of Coach Kyle Flood. So Coach Kyle Flood is working now at Texas. He left with Steve Sarkisian. And what I liked about Coach Kyle Flood at the time was the fact that there was a lot of reps with the offensive linemen. Anytime that you went to go see a practice, there was never offensive linemen just kind of standing there, waiting their turn. Every single offensive lineman was getting a rep in, which is great for the big men, right? And with Coach Kapilovic, I've seen a little bit of that as well. And I also saw just one-on-one coaching. And kind of his, what's up, Steven? I see you. Good morning to you, man. Jermaine, we'll get to you in just a second, man. But what you've seen is some one-on-one coaching, even with James Brockemeyer, who eventually left, which I'm still surprised about. And I know you have Gino Vandermark coming in, which I'm excited about that. But the one-on-one coaching and kind of, just loving your craft. Not to say that Eric Wolford didn't. I don't know. I just feel that Alabama's in better hands with Coach Kapilovic. Now, look, there's a lot of new coaches that I'm excited about. Robinson on the defensive side, coaching the inside linebackers. I personally think that he'll do a fine job. He has SEC ties, and I think he's done a really good job recruiting. But you look back to who Alabama also had. I felt that Robert Balla, who actually went back to Washington. He was a good coach. And I felt, and so is Robinson. Each of these guys are young. They're definitely not 50. I don't even know if they're 45. They're probably under 40, to be honest. So it's not always the next coach is better than the last coach. You kind of look to coaching styles. And I think with Coach Kapilovic, he's going to be able to land a lot of these guys. And I think clearly when these prospects meet with Coach Kapilovic, they're going to be able to understand his philosophy, how he coaches the offensive linemen up, and kind of get them ready for the next level. So I am excited about Coach Kapilovic, and I think Ty Haywood leaving with being really impressed with Alabama. I think that says a lot for the Crimson Tide this past weekend. I wanted to talk about another prospect that was on campus. We'll stick to the offensive side of the ball, and we'll go from Texas to California. And keep that in mind. We're going all over the how Coach Kalen DeBoer is recruiting. So you have Jordan Davison, right? And this is a prospect out of California. I think he's a 5-star on Rivals, and I think he's a 4-star, highly touted 4-star here on On3. 5'11", 220 pounds, big, imposing running back. And kind of almost like similar to Daniel Hill, who Alabama has on its roster already. What's impressive about Jordan Davis and what's important is the fact that you get a running back in who's from California. And once again, I point to the fact that Coach Kalen DeBoer's recruiting philosophy, he shortened the country. And I think clearly the country and like recruiting has shrunken down because of Zoom calls and this and that. But also, like, we've seen the coaches out in California. We've seen them in Florida. We've seen them going up to New Jersey, Maryland, wherever. Like, if you can play here at University of Alabama, they are going to get to you. Jermaine says inside the comment box, appreciate you being here, man. I think the Tide flipped Russell and he took the lead from Haywood, McDonald, and House. Yeah, look, and that's what we're talking about now. I mean, the prospects that were here this past weekend, why not Alabama? Like, what changed besides Coach Saban? And I get it. Coach Saban has been, the figure, but what you're seeing is the foundation is so strong and this coaching staff has got up to such a hot start. All we need right now is for Alabama to start winning football games, and you're going to see even more momentum. Because Alabama right now has so much overall momentum, and I think a lot of it is because of the recruiting. The changing of the guards was a little bit bumpy, as it always is, but man, he's done a great job. And you have a prospect come in like Jordan Davison, Keelon Russell, Ty Haywood, and all these guys leaving with very positive experience. Look, every single I've always said covering recruiting is the easiest job in the industry, especially when you cover Alabama, because have you ever, let me ask you, undefeated, have you guys ever read an article where a prospect left upset? No, that doesn't happen. So anytime you get to deliver the news back to your recruiting audience, it's always like, this prospect had the most amazing time. Of course they did. You get the red carpet here, right? The red carpet here at the University of Alabama. I mean, how could you not love it? And with everything that Apple has now, all the bells and the whistles and all the toys behind the scenes that we don't even know about, you imagine, your first time coming to Tuscaloosa and getting to see, everything that they have to offer, right? Now, did you guys see this on social media? I'm gonna bring it up in just a second. Everybody was talking about this over the weekend. I want to bring this up today on Monday's show. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more. It's going to be a cold summer. All right. Did you guys see this graphic? And what does this graphic mean to you? Okay. So it basically says this. It's going to be a cold summer, and then Titletown is like frozen. I hope it is a cold summer, because the last 7 years that I've lived here in Tuscaloosa, it's been the furthest thing from a frozen or a cold summer. Okay. So what does this mean to you? Think about it. All right. I think, in like popular culture and kind of, like, oh, that's cold. I mean, it's nice, right? Like good, positive. Like I feel that, they're going to continue to play off this. There's another picture of Courtney Morgan somewhere around. I wish I could find it. See if I can find it real quick. Of him kind of like posted up stadium. Find it. Amir Smith. And then also, so I want to hear from you when you're rewatching, right? The show. What do you think it's going to be a cold summer means? I want to hear from you inside the comment box. There was another picture that caught my attention. All right, so he's Amir Smith, out of Maryland, who is in town as well. Okay, and got to take the official pictures and all that stuff with the Alabama Crimson Tide. But one picture in particularly took, I'll pull it up now, is I think it's of him and his coach. But check this out. The football field at the University of Alabama looks like phenomenal. Okay. And I say this because you're like, okay, well, the field's always going to, this is Zamir Smith. Okay. Look at the field. You see it? Like, the field looks top notch. I mean, I think when we saw it during the springtime, it looked a little bit rough. All of us were complaining about the field surface. And now you see the field. I mean, that field looks pretty clean, right? They might have touched it up a little bit, but they got, some paints on it, and it looks much better than it did in spring. And so what I heard, because people were complaining about the field and during the spring game, and from what I understand, Alabama had to basically I don't think they resodded it. They had to reseed their field to get it ready for if they are to host a playoff game. So basically they're strategizing for like far out in, what would it be? December, right? No, Max, that's not a green screen. No, there was like a bunch of people talking. It could, right? Yeah, like what is AI these days? But it is actually the field surface at the University of Alabama. I don't know. It kind of just stood out to me, and that's what I'm saying. Like, this was the first time to really be able to like showcase everything that they got going on. I want to bring up another photo right here. Got a screenshot alert. No, Max, that's real life. Don't you think it looks lush? Max is saying, what's up, Max? I appreciate you guys. And if you want to become a fan funder of this YouTube channel, $2.99, hit the join button. I appreciate you guys. That's honestly how I make a living. So I appreciate you guys. A little thin right now in the month of May and June. Those are tough months to get by. All right, so what we have right here is another photo. What's up, Rocket Town? Appreciate you being here, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. C-Dub, I see you inside the comment box. Steven, what's going on, man? Jermaine, I appreciate you guys. I got 90 people locked in. Appreciate you guys. All good morning to you. And I hope that you guys had a great weekend. And I hope you guys have a really good Monday. And I hope you guys have a good week. And I hope you guys have a good month. June is summertime. And it's time, I think, like when you think of June, you think of summertime, kids out, like spend time with the kids, spend time with your family. If you're going on trips, enjoy it, right? Soak it up. We always talking about like soaking up that time, like the present, like do that, like be here, be in the moment, enjoy your time, enjoy your family. Okay, let's look at this photo right here from left to right. So you got big Caden Proctor. The first thing that stands out to me about Caden Proctor when looking at this particular photo, this is just one photo, is he immediately looks like he is trimmed down. I don't think that he's 375 pounds in this photo. Now, these are gigantic men, okay? All of these guys are thank you, Max. So that stood out to you too. Todd, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, man. Welcome to the club. I know you've been a long time viewer of the YouTube channel, so thank you very, very much for being here. So Caden Proctor looks slim. And I think that was one of the big, look, that wasn't the only issue for Caden Proctor, because when I think back to Caden Proctor, and he's on the left. What's up, Jarvis? Good morning to you, man. When I think back to Caden Proctor, I think back to, it was a freshman season. There was a lot of growth opportunities for him. He did good, he did bad, he was beat, he won. Like the Texas game, he was eaten up. The game against Tennessee, against a very good defensive line, he did really good. Against Michigan, and he didn't do so well. He played heavy. He seemed slow at times. And while we love his size, height-wise, he was too heavy. And I think, maybe that was by design. Like even like JC Latham, I felt that he played too heavy. You see him now with the Titans. He looks great. He looks trim. He looks fast. He looks athletic. Evan Neal, you kind of rewind to him, right? He was similar size in terms of like height, but he was never overweight. Remember how athletic he was? Because he played guard, he played tackle. And Caden Proctor now looks trim, and he looks ready to go. So love to see it. You have Courtney Morgan in the middle. Courtney Morgan is Alabama's general manager. And if you follow him on social media, on Instagram, Courtney Morgan is also in the gym every single morning. He's working on himself. I love it. Like lead by example. And that's what he is doing. So has great relationships with all the players. In fact, like his job is it's general manager, but I think it's building relationships and fostering those relationships for the University of Alabama. Okay, great position to have. I mean, the guy seems so likable and has such a great rapport with the players. Okay, to the right of Courtney Morgan is Tyler Buckner. All right, so Tyler Buckner, you know, when we look to our preseason magazines, do we still get those? Do we still get like Phil Still and Athlon? Like, is that still a thing? Right? Yeah, so Todd, we'll get to you in just a second because I know he has a couple other visits scheduled, and that's Keelon Russell. I don't know if he like cancels those visits or whatever. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Tyler Buckner, for whatever reason, like this guy, and I know the big guys don't get a lot of love, and we don't talk about the big guys often, but I think we should in this particular case because, and not pictured are, you know, a couple other offensive linemen that will start. Actually, these are 3 out of the 5 starters because Welcome Formby's on the right. But Tyler Buckner is probably the best guard coming back in college football. You also have Jaden Roberts, who's not that far behind. But Tyler Buckner, as you know, he's done some amazing interviews weekly with The Next Round on their YouTube channel. He's a spokesman for the university. He's an ambassador for the University of Alabama. Super intelligent. And I think we should be talking more about the fact that Alabama's offensive line should be much improved from last year. A lot of that is going to revolve around the center position. And is that going to be Parker Brailsford versus Geno Vandermark? I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out in August or, you know, when we get closer to that point in time. Maybe we'll hear some nuggets in like July or something like that. I don't know. But Tyler Buckner is a returning All-American, and I think kind of sky's the limit. He's a future, all these guys are future NFL players. I think Caden Proctor and Tyler Buckner are probably first-round draft picks. Oh, this coffee's hot. It's so hot. But I love my coffee hot. It's got to be hot. Like the hotter, the better. I need my food hot. Like, okay, I'll tell you, let me tell you something. We go to T and I, Taylor. We'll go to Blue Plate here in Tuscaloosa. I personally don't like Blue Plate. It's not my favorite place. Will I go? Of course. But I don't think it's that good. One of the reasons is like the last 2 times I've ordered mashed potatoes and gravy from there, and it just came out like lukewarm, if that. I can't eat like cold. Is anybody eating cold mashed potatoes? No, right? You want it hot. So that's kind of my beef with Blue Plate. I don't have like true, you know, beef with them, but it's just like, you know, warm them up. Mr. B, what's up, man? Proctor looking good, 100%, right? You agree. Okay, so we work our way to the right in this photo, and this is Welcome Formby. All right, I love the story about Welcome Formby. I love in-state prospects, okay? When I was in New Mexico 8 years ago, it was always great to see in-state guys get an opportunity to play for the 2 universities. Here, I feel the same. I don't cover Auburn football, so I just focus on Alabama football. And I love in-state guys getting opportunities to play at the university. And I say this all the time. The Alabama high school football is so underrated. I think people in Alabama know how good it is. But when I started going around, thank you, Rocketown, cold gravy sucks. But when I started going around and watching high school football here, I was like blown away. Even like JV, junior high football, it is really, really good. Speed, the coaching is really good. So with a player like Welcome Formby, he's from right here in Tuscaloosa, right? Northridge. And he's a hell of a player. He's a monster. I mean, I think he's the biggest. Look, if Caden Proctor is 6'7", it looks like Welcome Formby has maybe like an inch on him right here in this photo. And I know it looks like he might be standing up a little bit, so you might be a little bit taller. But Welcome Formby, if he is the right tackle, that's gonna be great for Alabama. I think he's ready. He's worked his time. He has a local commercial here at Taco Casa, which is awesome. You should see, like, it's called like the Formby 5 or something like that. And it's like the 5 things that he gets. Let me ask you, Undefeated, inside the comment box. 93 watching. We appreciate you guys. If you guys will hit the thumbs up, that really means a lot to me. And if you guys would become a fan funder, that'd be great. Super chats also appreciated. This is how I get by for a living. So I appreciate you guys. Let me ask you, do you think that Welcome Formby will be the right tackle for Alabama this season? Type Y if you think so inside the comment box. This is Welcome Formby University of Alabama on the right. I personally do. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see if he is the right tackle. I think he's going to be. So let's just find out and see what happens. So type Y inside the comment box if you think Wilcom Formby will be the right tackle. Okay, some early Y's. I'm going to say Y right now for yes. Okay, I want to hit on this. We didn't touch on this a couple days ago, but Caden Clay, this is this is heartbreaking. He's a manager at the University of Alabama. I don't even know if he was 21 yet. And he passed away, I believe, on May 29th. And thoughts and prayers out to his family. I'm sure you probably saw this on social media. This is heartbreaking. I mean, look at that. 2005 to 2024. Life cut way too short. Really great looking young man. And every single time, that this happens to somebody, in the youth, it hurts, right? And thoughts and prayers to the family because, a lot of support. I saw it on social media and, it's heartbreaking to see. So I hope that you guys were able to, check that out and thoughts and prayers out to his family. So I want to talk about Alabama softball real quick. Because look, I know you guys like softball. I watch softball as well. The softball team yesterday, they lost their season final to Florida. And it was a tough game. White, right? Way too young. 100%, Clint. I appreciate that, man. Heartbreaking, right? So the Alabama softball team lost yesterday to Florida by a score of 6-4. Florida scored 3 runs in the 6th inning. I thought a lot of that game. I watched that game. And look, the softball team has done a really good job. And what's interesting? If you haven't been to a softball game, go to a softball game. If you haven't been to a gymnastics game, go to one. Like, look on your schedule and your calendar if you're coming in for like Parents Weekend or whatever. Like, go to these sporting events because they are really fun. I'm serious. Like the softball games, I think they're better than the baseball games. They're short, they're quick, you're right on top of the action. So Alabama softball loses. The baseball team lost as well. But I thought a lot of this happened in the 6th inning. Florida goes up 3, Alabama scores 2. Alabama can't come back. And, the freshman pitcher, did all that she could do in a game like this. But in the end, Alabama drops and is eliminated from the college softball World Series. I think overall, this Alabama team, under Patrick Murphy, because we've talked about Murphy before, I think he's a great coach. He always seems to have him but I think like pitching, it was just it just wasn't their season. So Jocelyn takes the L and she finishes out 10-6 on the season. Alabama 39-20 on the year. So Alabama softball eliminated from the playoffs. If you guys have questions for the back end of the show, I always kind of leave like questions for the back end. You can post those inside the comment box. Strange coaching moves in the softball game. Why does Murphy always have to prove he's the brightest guy in the room? I thought kind of the freshman Jocelyn going in there. I don't know. I think that was tough. I don't know who else you go to within the roster. I haven't followed the team that close, but I felt like that stage was a little bit bigger than her. Mr. B is saying they played hard. Florida taking early lead was way too much for them to come back. Look, and then UCLA. I mean, that team was really good as well, right? The Alabama, we'll bring up the baseball team as well now. Baseball. Alabama baseball, they also lost. And they lost to Stetson, and they are eliminated from the playoffs, losing 4-0. And that was a game that took place yesterday as well. And they finished the season 33-24. That is Alabama's baseball season. Quote from Rob Young, Rob Vaughn, who's the Alabama baseball coach, the lasting memory of the 2024 baseball team is going to be a group of fighters, a group of tough kids, and a group that pulled together to do some special things. That's the stuff these guys will take with them as the pain goes on. As the pain goes. So they lose 4-0. So Alabama softball is out, and so is Alabama softball. I was following, did you follow the story with Alabama, with Southern Birmingham? Are you guys following that story? Southern Birmingham baseball? So they lost yesterday, and so everybody's been following it, right? So Birmingham Southern, the school literally closed, okay? And Birmingham Southern has been hanging on by like a shoestring, and they're basically keeping the school alive, like with every single win, and every single win that they had was like more dramatic than the last one. And they won on like a walk-off home run. Literally, like that's the only thing left of the school. So yesterday they lost in the Division III Baseball World Series to Wisconsin Whitewater by a score of 11-10. You guys following that, right? That was something crazy to watch. Was the Birmingham Southern story. So just wanted to hop on this morning and really highlight the point that we are tracking everything regarding Keelon Russell. And, I think it's just, everybody put your notifications on. That at any point in time, and this will be the thing. So Keelon Russell, and I think we have Todd said this. He has some visits that he has scheduled. I forget who the visits are top of my head, but if he does, I don't know. I would imagine that he still takes those visits. If I was a prospect, I would take those visits. I want to go see what other places have to offer. But I think, when you look to Alabama and kind of the vision of this program, we know where Alabama football is headed under Coach Kalen DeBoer. And I think the fact that now they have some quarterback developers, Nick Sheridan, why not Alabama? So kind of end on that point. I appreciate you guys joining me for this morning segment. I will be back as news happens. Be sure and subscribe, be notified to the YouTube channel. So when news happens, think Alabama Crimson Tide football. I appreciate you guys being here. Drop a thumbs up on this video if you think Keelon Russell will flip to Alabama. Oh, thank you, Todd. Oregon and Florida. Yeah, see, I don't think that he takes those trips to... I think you go to Oregon for sure. I would. You get load up on some gear, go check it out for sure. Florida, look, and who knows? Maybe he likes Oregon. What they've been able to do, they can do, like, Bo Nix just went in the first round. They have Dylan Gabriel. I would imagine he also goes in the first round. And everything that Oregon has going on, all the 20 different jerseys, it would be cool to go there. I'm not going to lie. Florida right now, I think it'd be good to go there as well. But how long is Billy Napier going to be there? That would be I think that this is Napier's last season at Florida. Talked about it several times. There's no way that they can survive that schedule. There's just no way. So that's kind of why I'm holding off on Florida. With that said, Florida's still been landing a couple prospects. Oh, before we go, let's look to this real quick. The recruiting rankings. And let's go to national rankings. Okay. And again, I use On3, so use your own recruiting service that you like. Here are, this is 2024. Let's go to 2025. This is 2025 as things stand as of June 3rd in terms of the recruiting rankings. So you have Ohio State. Let's zoom in on this. You have Ohio State at number 1, and they have 3 5-stars, 7 4-stars. You have LSU, who has 2 5-stars and 8 4-stars. You have USC at number 3, who has 3 5-stars and 5 4-stars. You have Notre Dame, who has 13. They picked up another prospect yesterday. 13 4-stars already. That's a pretty damn good class, right? Clemson has 9 4-stars, and they are ranked number 5, 1 5-star. Oregon has 1 5-star, and they have 6 4-stars. Georgia has 1 5-star and 7 4-stars, and Alabama has 8 4-stars. That's interesting. They just have higher rated 4-stars then Texas A&M, who's at 9, and then Auburn has 7 4-stars. I'm just curious. Let's see who, because I didn't know that Notre Dame was ranked 4th in recruiting. I'm just curious to see who they have. Let's see. All right, Will Black, he's their 5-star. Deuce Knight is our quarterback. Evan Taylor, Mark Zachary. Yeah, it's actually a pretty good class. James Flanagan, Yeah, this is a good class by Notre Dame, look, Notre Dame continues to recruit at a high level. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised to see how good their recruiting class is so far. This is USC's. I'm just curious. Justice Terry, 5-star, number 2 overall player in the state of Georgia. Wow, that's interesting. Getting him to go all the way. And then I think Julian Lewis is probably going to flip, right? But also your 3 top prospects from USC are all from Georgia, right? Georgia, Gibson from Georgia, and you have from Florida. Wow. So USC's been able to do a really good job in the SEC country, right? Interesting. I don't know. It's kind of interesting when you start to kind of dive around the recruiting rankings and see which teams are pulling in whoever, right? Let's look at Alabama's recruiting class real quick before we get out of here. All right. Here's Alabama. So you got Daryl Johnson, who is their highest rated recruit. He's the number 8 overall player out of Georgia. You have Derek Smith out of Selma, Alabama, the number 3 player. You have Anthony Rogers, Turbo. Turbo was just in he was just at Ohio State recently. Antonio Coleman, he's the one who flipped from Auburn to Alabama. Jaden Harmon, he's out of Georgia. Abdul Sanders out of Los Angeles. Zamir Smith, who was just in town in Tuscaloosa, out of Maryland. And then Luke Metz, who was just offered by Georgia. He's from the state of Georgia. He's a linebacker. Latsier Brooks out of New Jersey. He's a guy who was just seen on social media squatting 400 pounds. And Miles Johnson out of Alabama. So that's kind of the recruiting class right now for the Alabama Crimson Tide. As I said, Turbo was just seen up in Columbus visiting with the Ohio State Buckeyes. So, Evron, man, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for being here. Longtime contributor of Bama football on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. All right, fam. So that is my morning segment. I keep on saying that, and then we keep on talking about different topics. Yeah, let's hit on this real quick. Because this has been like an interesting story to talk about, right? So you have Tyler Buckner. So Tyler Buckner, he went from, let me get a photo of him so we can talk about him. Buckner went from Notre Dame to Alabama, right? You guys follow this story? Yeah, appreciate it, Max. Thank you so much, man. You guys follow this story of Tyler Buckner? Look, the kid, he's as nice as it comes, okay? It wasn't going to work out here for Alabama at the quarterback position. I was actually talking to somebody today, this morning during my workouts. They were talking about Tyler Buckner. And when he came over here, and I think we knew this, he felt he was going to be a starter. Even like his agent was like, I think he has the same, I think Tyler Buckner and Tommy Rees have the same agent, okay? And when they came over here, it was under the impression that Tyler Buckner was going to be the starter at the University of Alabama. Okay, we all knew that it didn't work out. He got an opportunity to start. He wrote an article. He wrote kind of like this memoir to Notre Dame recently. And he started the game against South Florida. He was benched. Ty Simpson comes and wins. And we never see from Tyler Buckner again. But what he wrote in that article was that he came back and he played a scout team for against Alabama, right, for the remainder of the season, which is cool. Finishes out what he started. He then transfers back to Notre Dame. And because of the NCAA rules, you can only transfer back for another sport. So he transferred back for lacrosse. Well, he was one of the most highly touted lacrosse players in the country, ends up winning a national championship with Notre Dame for lacrosse. And now that a new season has started, he is going to play football again, but not as a quarterback. He's going to be a walk-on wide receiver. So the story around him is pretty good. You know what I like about this kid is like, he went through some adversity, right? He went through some shit. Could you imagine being like his age and having to go like I remember during August when it was fan day, when like everybody goes up and can get autographs from the players. There's video of it. Nobody was getting interviews from Tyler Buckner. It was like 5 guys getting autographs from Ty Simpson and like 200 people for Jalen Milroe. This was before the season. And people still talking about Tyler Buckner like on social media and stuff like that he was going to be the guy. Imagine like swallow your ego and you're like, I'm nobody here. And then you get a chance to start, right? Under Tommy Rees against South Florida, and literally like you crapped the bed. It couldn't have gone worse for him. And I think credit to him for fighting through that. He could have quit the team. He could have left, right? So many times in adversity, you just bail out, right? Once you're canceled, you just leave, right? You just stop. He didn't stop. Kept on showing up, finishes out with the team, plays scout quarterback, helps any way that he could. I'm sure he was the one simulating J.J. McCarthy, right? Goes to Notre Dame, plays lacrosse, a different sport, wins a championship with them, and now he's coming back to play football. So whatever the case is, I respect the kid. I respect the man for fighting through adversity. So many times, even on the show, we talk about fighting through adversity. I love it. Keep fighting, right? Keep punching and keep doing you. So it's actually a pretty good story. And happy for him, to be honest, right? The softball team always talks about this phrase called mudita. Is anybody familiar with that? It's basically being happy for other people's happiness. And that's a phrase that I learned from the Book of Joy. It's with the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. They go and spend a week together. It's my favorite book, and still listen to it now. They go together for a week, and they basically, it's like a spiritual retreat for these two, and they talk about the practice of mudita. That's what I was surprised that Patrick Murphy even knew about mudita, because that's where I learned from the book. So like if your neighbor gets like a raise, you're happy mentally for him. And you know, that's it's good stuff. So we're happy for Tyler Buckner. Good luck to him. I appreciate you guys being here on this Monday. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. If you want to become a fan funder of the YouTube channel, $2.99, you can contribute to the message board here on our YouTube shows. Remember, free to watch, not free to produce. This is what I do for a full-time living. It's just me on the channel. I appreciate you guys following my journey, the ups, the downs of the channel, and always talking Alabama football with you guys right here on this beautiful Monday morning. I hope you guys have an amazing start. As news happens, think Bama Football on YouTube. I will catch you guys soon. Have a blessed day. Be good people. And I'll catch up with you soon right here on Bama Football on YouTube. See you guys.